The Trojan Gift. Admiral Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of the UES Defiant, her eyes fixed on the holographic display showing Earth's first interstellar fleet. To the untrained eye, the ships looked like relics, a cobbled-together assortment of vessels that had no business venturing beyond the solar system. Chen allowed herself a small smile. If only they knew. Admiral, her XO, Commander Raj Patel, approached with a datapad. Final checks complete. All ships report ready. Chen nodded, her short gray hair catching the light of nearby consoles. At 52, she was young for an admiral, but her unorthodox tactics during the Mars Rebellion had catapulted her through the ranks. Thank you, Raj, and the special cargo. Patel's eyes glinted with understanding. Secure and undetectable, ma'am. Even our own crews don't know what's hidden in plain sight. Excellent. Chen turned to address the bridge crew. Ladies and gentlemen, in 10 minutes, we make history. The first human fleet to answer the call of the Galactic Council. She paused, letting the weight of the moment sink in. But remember, we're not just explorers. We're humanity's first line of defense. A chorus of "Yes, Admiral," echoed through the bridge. As the crew resumed their preparations, Chen's mind wandered back to the day the invitation arrived. It had been a typical Tuesday at Lunar Command when every screen on Earth and her colony suddenly flickered to life with an alien face. The being, vaguely humanoid but with iridescent scales and 4 eyes, had introduced itself as Ambassador Zixtal of the Galactic Council. Its message was simple. Earth was invited to petition for membership among the stars. Humanity's reaction had been mixed. Celebration in the streets, paranoia in government halls. Why now? Why Earth? The decision to accept had been contentious, but in the end, curiosity and the potential benefits outweighed the risks. Or so they hoped. Admiral. Patel's voice snapped Chen back to the present. We're receiving a transmission from the Council's envoy ship. They're expressing impatience. Chen straightened her uniform. Put them through. The main view screen flickered, revealing a tall, willowy alien with silver skin and eyes like swirling galaxies. Chen recognized the species from the briefings. A Luminar, one of the eldest races in the Council. Greetings, Admiral Chen. The alien's voice was melodious but tinged with annoyance. I am Emissary Vox. Your fleet was expected at the rendezvous point 2 solar cycles ago. The Council's patience wears thin. Chen bowed slightly, a gesture of respect she practiced for weeks. Emissary Vox, our apologies for the delay. As you can see, our ships are not as advanced as yours. We came as quickly as we could manage. Vox's eyes narrowed, scanning the fleet visible behind Chen. Indeed, I must say, Admiral, when we extended the invitation, we expected more from the species that claimed to have mastered fusion and rudimentary AI. The veiled insult wasn't lost on Chen or her crew. She could feel the tension rising on the bridge, but maintained her diplomatic smile. Appearances can be deceiving, Emissary. We humans have a saying, don't judge a book by its cover. How quaint, Vox replied, not bothering to hide their disdain. Well, regardless of your technological limitations, we are here to escort you to Nexus Station. The Council awaits. The transmission cut off abruptly, leaving an uncomfortable silence on the bridge. Patel was the first to speak. Well, they seem friendly. A ripple of nervous laughter broke the tension. Chen turned to her crew, her expression serious. Remember the mission. We're here to learn, to establish relations, and above all, to protect Earth. If that means letting them underestimate us for now, so be it. As if on cue, a massive ship shimmered into existence off their port bow. It was a thing of beauty, all sleek lines and pulsing energy, more akin to a living creature than a vessel. My God, someone whispered. Chen had to admit it was impressive, but she also noticed something else. Tactical analysis of the Luminar ship. Lieutenant Rivera's fingers danced across her console. Heavily armed, Admiral. Energy readings off the charts. But, she frowned, there are inconsistencies. Some systems seem to be drawing power inefficiently, and their shield geometry. It's complex, but not optimized. As I thought, Chen mused. All flash, not enough substance. She raised her voice. Helm, take us in. Formation Delta. Let's not give them any surprises. Yet, the human fleet began to move, their formation tight and precise despite their apparent technological inferiority. As they approached the Luminar vessel, Chen couldn't shake a feeling of unease. The invitation, the escort, the thinly veiled condescension. It all felt wrong. Admiral. Patel's voice was low, meant for her ears only. Do you think this is wise? We're about to jump into unknown space with an alien race that clearly looks down on us. Chen's eyes never left the view screen. No, Raj. I don't think it's wise at all. But sometimes, the only way to spring a trap is to step into it. The Luminar ship began to move, creating a swirling vortex of energy ahead of them. A hyperspace portal, just like in the old sci-fi vids. Chen felt a mixture of awe and apprehension. This was it. Humanity's first step into a larger universe. All ships, this is Admiral Chen. Prepare for hyperspace, jump on my mark. She took a deep breath, steadying herself. Whatever happens next, remember this moment. Remember Earth. And remember, we carry with us the hopes and dreams of every human who ever looked up at the stars and wondered what was out there. She paused, allowing the gravity of the moment to settle. Mark. The fleet surged forward, entering the swirling vortex. The Defiant shuddered, lights flickering as unfathomable energies washed over the hull. Through the view screen, Chen watched reality itself seem to twist and bend. And then, as suddenly as it began, it was over. The fleet emerged into a star system unlike anything in human space. A massive orange sun dominated the sky, its light refracted and magnified by a series of colossal spaceborne structures that Chen could only assume were some kind of Dyson swarm. But it was the space station that took her breath away. Nexus Station hung in space like a metal flower in bloom, its petals spanning kilometers, each one hosting its own ecosystem visible even from this distance. Ships of all shapes and sizes swarmed around it, a testament to the diversity of the galactic community. "Oh my," Petal whispered, his usual stoicism cracking in the face of such majesty. Chen allowed herself a moment of awe before snapping back to Admiral mode. Tactical, full sensor sweep. I want to know everything about that station and the ships around it. Comms, monitor all frequencies. If anyone so much as sneezes out there, I want to know about it. As her crew scrambled to follow orders, Chen noticed something odd. The alien ships, advanced as they were, seemed to be giving the human fleet a wide berth. It wasn't just caution. It looked almost like fear. "Admiral," Rivera called out, her voice tight. "I'm picking up weapon signatures. A lot of them. Some of these ships, they're in attack formation." Chen's eyes narrowed. "Interesting welcome wagon they've got here. Helm, maintain course but be ready for evasive maneuvers. Tactical, power up point defense systems, but keep them in passive mode." The Luminar escort ship hailed them again. This time, Emissary Vox's musical voice carried an edge of, was that nervousness? "Admiral Chen, welcome to Nexus Station. The Council is eager to meet you. Please follow the designated flight path to Docking Bay 17A, and Admiral. For everyone's safety, please ensure your weapon systems remain powered down." Chen smiled, all teeth and no warmth. "Of course, Emissary. We're just happy to be here." As the transmission ended, Chen turned to her crew. Her expression was grim but determined. "Well, ladies and gentlemen, it seems our hosts have some interesting ideas about hospitality. Stay sharp. I have a feeling things are about to get very interesting." The human fleet moved forward, a seemingly ragtag group of outdated ships, dwarfed by the technological marvels around them. But within those ships, hidden from prying eyes, lay the true strength of humanity: innovation, adaptability, and a stubborn refusal to go quietly into the night. As they approached the massive docking bay, Admiral Sarah Chen stood tall, her mind already racing with strategies and contingencies. Whatever the Galactic Council had planned, humanity was ready. The game was afoot, and Chen intended to win. Whispers and warnings. The Galactic Council chamber was a marvel of alien architecture. Sweeping arches of an opalescent material Chen couldn't identify stretched hundreds of meters overhead, forming a dome that seemed to capture and amplify the very starlight itself. Tiered seating surrounded a central platform, each section clearly designed to accommodate the vast array of species represented. As the human delegation made their way to their assigned seats, Chen couldn't shake the feeling of being a lamb walking into a den of wolves. The looks they received ranged from open curiosity to barely concealed contempt. "Admiral," Patil whispered, "I count at least 30 distinct species. Some of them, I'm not even sure how they're alive in this atmosphere." Chen nodded subtly. "Keep your eyes open, Raj, and remember, trust no one," Patel finished. "Got it." As they took their seats, a hush fell over the chamber. From an entrance Chen hadn't noticed before, a procession of beings glided in. At their head was a creature that defied easy description. It seemed to shift and change with each step, as if its very form was in constant flux. "Esteemed members of the Galactic Council," the being's voice resonated without seeming to come from any specific point. "I, High Arbiter Zin, call this session to order. Today, we welcome representatives from Sol 3, known to its inhabitants as Earth." A murmur rippled through the assembly. Chen stood, bowing in the manner she'd been instructed. "High Arbiter, esteemed council members, I am Admiral Sarah Chen of Earth. We are honored by your invitation and eager to petition for membership among the stars." The High Arbiter's form shimmered, and for a moment, Chen could have sworn it took on a vaguely human shape. "Welcome, Admiral Chen. The Council has reviewed your species' history and technological progress. We have concerns." Before Chen could respond, a bulbous creature with multiple eye stalks rose from its seat. "Concerns? That's putting it mildly. These humans are savages. Their history is drenched in blood, their planet poisoned by their own hand. And now they dare to reach for the stars." Shouts of agreement echoed through the chamber. Chen felt her face flush, but kept her composure. "With respect," she began, but was quickly cut off by another alien, this one a towering insectoid. "And let's not forget their pitiful level of technology." It chittered, mandibles clacking in what Chen assumed was laughter. "Did you see the ships they arrived in? I've seen more advanced technology in a child's plaything." More laughter, more jeers. Chen's hands clenched at her sides, but she forced herself to remain calm. This was a test. She was sure of it. "If I may," she said, raising her voice to be heard over the din. To her surprise, the chamber quieted. It's true that humanity's history is not without its dark chapters. It's also true that our technology may seem quaint to your advanced eyes. But I would argue that these very things are what make us worthy of consideration." She paused, making eye contact with as many alien delegates as she could. "We have faced our demons and emerged stronger. We have taken a world on the brink of ecological collapse and begun the long process of healing it. And our technology. We've achieved faster than light travel with a fraction of the resources available to many of you. Imagine what we could accomplish as part of this council." For a moment, there was silence. Then, from a shadowy corner of the chamber, a new voice spoke. "The human speaks with wisdom beyond her years. Perhaps we should listen." Chen turned to see a being that seemed to be made of living shadow, its eyes glowing like distant stars. The other delegates shifted uncomfortably, and Chen realized she was looking at a member of one of the eldest races in the galaxy. The High Arbiter's form rippled. "Shadowseer Nix, your input is unexpected. Do you vouch for these humans?" The Shadowseer's gaze never left Chen. I merely suggest we consider all angles before rushing to judgment. After all, is not the purpose of this council to foster understanding and growth among all sentient species? A tense silence fell over the chamber. Chen felt a glimmer of hope, but it was quickly dashed by the next speaker. Understanding. Growth? Bah! A creature that looked like a cross between a squid and a bear lumbered to its feet. I say we put these humans to the test. If they're so capable, let them prove it. Shouts of agreement filled the air. The High Arbiter raised a shimmering appendage for silence. An interesting proposal, Representative Grok. What sort of test did you have in mind? Grok's tentacles writhed in what might have been a grin. Simple. We are on the brink of war with the Jethar Imperium. Let the humans prove their worth on the battlefield. Chen's blood ran cold. The Jethar were a warmongering race mentioned in their briefings, a threat so severe that even the advanced races of the Council feared them. Before she could protest, the chamber erupted into chaos. Delegates shouted, argued, and in some cases, emitted high-pitched screeches that made Chen's ears ring. Silence. The High Arbiter's voice boomed, physically shaking the chamber. As quiet fell, it turned its ever-shifting gaze to Chen. Admiral Chen, are you prepared to prove humanity's worth in this manner? Chen's mind raced. This was madness. They had come seeking peaceful relations, not to be thrown into an intergalactic war. But as she looked around the chamber, at the sneering faces and condescending glares, she realized they had little choice. High Arbiter, she said, her voice steady despite her racing heart. Humanity has never shied away from a challenge. If proving our worth means standing against tyranny and oppression, then so be it. We accept. The chamber exploded into motion. Delegates argued. Aides rushed to and fro with datapads, and in the center of it all, Chen stood, wondering if she had just signed humanity's death warrant. As the session devolved into procedural debates, Shen felt a presence at her side. It was the Shadowseer, Nyx. Bold words, Admiral. Its voice was like silk over steel. I hope you can back them up. Chen met its starry gaze. We'll do what we must to protect Earth and prove our place among the stars. Nyx's form seemed to ripple with something akin to amusement. Perhaps. But be warned, young one. Not all here have your best interests at heart. Watch for the dagger in the dark, and trust not the hand that offers false friendship. Before Chen could respond, Nyx melted back into the shadows, leaving her with a growing sense of unease. As the session finally adjourned, Chen and her team were escorted to their quarters. The rooms were luxurious by human standards, but Chen couldn't shake the feeling they were more prison than accommodation. Raj, she said once they were alone, contact the fleet. Tell them to be on high alert. And initiate Protocol Omega. Patel's eyes widened. Admiral, are you sure? That's a last resort, I know. But after what I've seen today, I'm not taking any chances. She moved to the window, looking out at the vast expanse of space and the alien ships beyond. Something's not right here, Raj. This invitation, the Ridicule, now this suicide mission. We're missing something big. As if in answer to her words, a distant flash caught her eye. One of the station's defensive platforms had just destroyed an incoming ship. An invasion. A coup. Alarms began to blare throughout Nexus Station. Chen's comm unit crackled to life with a message that made her blood run cold. This is Captain Yara of the UES Dauntless. Admiral, we're under attack. Multiple hostile ships emerging from FTL. They're not Jethar. They're Council ships. Chen's eyes hardened as she barked orders into her comm. The trap had been sprung, but humanity wasn't going down without a fight. The real battle was about to begin. Betrayal unveiled. Chaos erupted throughout Nexus Station. Alarms blared. Emergency lighting bathed the corridors in an eerie red glow, and panicked aliens of all species rushed in every direction. Admiral Chen sprinted through the mayhem, Patel hot on her heels, both of them shoving past diplomats and dignitaries in their race to reach the docking bay. Status report. Chen barked into her comm as they ran. Captain Yara's voice crackled through, punctuated by the sound of explosions. Multiple council ships have opened fire on us. Admiral, the Dauntless shields are holding, but the Jakarta and Nova Lisboa have taken heavy damage. We're returning fire, but we're outnumbered. Chen cursed under her breath. Hold the line, Captain. We're on our way. Initiate contingency Bravo. Understood. Admiral. Bravo initiated. Godspeed. As they rounded a corner, they nearly collided with a group of armed Luminar security forces. For a moment, both parties froze, weapons half raised. Admiral Chen, the lead Luminar said, his melodic voice tinged with urgency. By order of the High Council, you and your team are to be detained for your own safety. Chen's eyes narrowed. Like hell we are. In one fluid motion, she drew her sidearm and fired. The weapon, looking antiquated to alien eyes, emitted a pulse that sent the Luminars crumpling to the ground, unconscious. Patel stared at her in shock. Admiral, what? Neurodisruptor, Chen explained, already moving again. Non-lethal, but they'll have one hell of a headache when they wake up. Come on. They reached the docking bay to find it in pandemonium. Ships of all sizes were trying to launch, creating a dangerous traffic jam in the bay's exit. Through the force field, they could see flashes of weapons fire in the distance. There, Patel pointed to where their shuttle waited, guarded by a squad of human marines in powered armor that looked bulky and primitive compared to the sleek designs around them. As they approached, a massive explosion rocked the station. Chen stumbled, caught by one of the marines. Citrip, she demanded. The marine surgeon's voice came through his helmet speakers, calm despite the chaos. Ma'am, the Sao Paulo just rammed one of the attacking cruisers. Took it out. But they're gone. Admiral. Chen closed her eyes for a moment, honoring the sacrifice. Understood. Let's make sure it wasn't in vain. We're leaving. As they boarded the shuttle, a familiar voice called out. Admiral Chen. Wait. Chen turned to see Shadow Seer Nyx gliding towards them, pursued by several armed aliens. Without hesitation, Chen waved the Shadow Seer aboard. Admiral, are you sure? Patel began. No time to argue. Go. The shuttle's engines roared to life, drowning out the shouts and weapons fire from the pursuing security forces. With a lurch, they shot out of the docking bay and into the war zone beyond. The scene that greeted them was one of utter chaos. The human fleet, vastly outnumbered, was locked in desperate combat, with ships bearing the insignia of various council races. Debris and bodies floated in the void, a grim testament to the battle's ferocity. Get us to the Defiant, Chen ordered the pilot. She turned to Nyx, her expression hard. Start talking. What the hell is going on here? The Shadowseer's starry eyes seemed to flicker with something like regret. A coup, Admiral. One long in the making. Certain factions within the Council have grown fearful of younger races. Your invitation was a ruse, meant to lure your fleet here for destruction. But why? Pahil demanded. We're barely a blip on the galactic scale. Why target us? Because of what you represent, Nyx replied. Hope. Change. A reminder that the galaxy doesn't belong solely to the elder races. And because of what you carry. Chen's blood ran cold. You know about the Thunderchild. Nyx nodded. Rumors and whispers. A weapon of unimaginable power hidden within your fleet. The conspirators feared you might upset the balance of power. A bitter laugh escaped Chen. So they decided to kill us all. Charming. The shuttle shuddered as a stray energy blast grazed their shields. Through the viewport, Chen could see the Defiant growing larger, its hull scared but intact. Admiral, the pilot called out, we've got incoming. 2 enemy fighters on our 6. Chen grabbed the shuttle's weapon controls. Evasive maneuvers. Patel, get on the other gun. What followed was a harrowing dance through a storm of energy blasts and debris. Chen's hands flew over the controls, returning fire with a precision that seemed to surprise their pursuers. One enemy fighter erupted in a ball of flame, while the other peeled off, smoking. "Ha!" Patil exclaimed. "Not so primitive now, are we?" They docked with the Defiant moments later, racing to the bridge. The ship's crew snapped to attention as Chen entered, but their eyes kept darting to the alien in their midst. "As you were," Chen barked. "Status report." Commander Rivera's hands danced over her tactical display. "Shields at 60%, Admiral. We've lost the Jakarta and Sao Paulo. Nova Lisboa and Dauntless are still in the fight, but they're taking a beating. The enemy's focus seems to be on finding and destroying something specific in our fleet. They're looking for the Thunderchild," Chen said grimly. She turned to Nex. "Can we count on any allies here?" The Shadowseer's form rippled. Some, perhaps. Not all agreed with this treachery, but they may hesitate to act openly. Chen nodded, her mind racing. "All right. Rivera, new targeting parameters. I want precision strikes on enemy engines and weapons only. No kills unless absolutely necessary." "Ma'am." Rivera looked confused. "We're being set up as aggressors," Chen explained. "If we start destroying Council ships wholesale, we'll only prove their point. We need to show we're here in good faith." She turned to the communications officer. "Broadcast on all frequencies, all languages. Let everyone know we're defending ourselves against unlawful aggression, and that we demand an immediate ceasefire and investigation." As her orders were carried out, Chen watched the tactical display with growing unease. They were putting up a good fight, but the odds were overwhelming. It was only a matter of time before a new alarm blared. Rivera's eyes widened in shock. "Admiral, massive energy spike detected. It's the station. They're powering up some kind of super weapon." All eyes turned to the main view screen, where Nexus Station was beginning to glow with an otherworldly light. Arcs of energy danced between its massive pedals, coalescing into a point of blinding brilliance. "They mean to destroy everything," Nix whispered. "Your fleet, the dissenters, all of it." Chen's jaw set in grim determination. She took a deep breath, then spoke the words she'd hoped never to utter. "This is Admiral Chen to all Earth ships. Initiate Protocol Omega. Authorization Code Terra Invicta." For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, amid the debris and chaos of the battle, something stirred. A massive asteroid, previously overlooked as just another piece of space rock, began to move. Its surface shimmered and faded, revealing the sleek, deadly form of humanity's greatest secret. The Thunderchild had awoken. As the station's superweapon reached critical mass, the Thunderchild's own systems flared to life. The ship, dwarfing even the largest Council vessels, moved with an agility that defied its size. Its hull seemed to ripple and shift, adapting to the energy readings of the station's weapon. Chen watched, heart pounding, as humanity's last, best hope positioned itself between the Earth fleet and certain annihilation. Whatever happened next would change the course of galactic history forever. The fate of Earth, the Council, and perhaps the entire galaxy now rested on the Thunderchild's untested capabilities. As energy lanced out from Nexus Station, Shen gripped her command chair and whispered a silent prayer. "Let's show them what humanity can do." The Thunderchild Gambit. Time seemed to slow as the energy beam from Nexus Station lanced towards the Earth fleet. Admiral Chen held her breath, along with every other being on the Defiance bridge. The Thunderchild, humanity's ace in the hole, hung in space between certain destruction and the remnants of Earth's battered fleet. What happened next defied the laws of physics as understood by most of the galaxy's civilizations. As the energy beam struck the Thunderchild, its hull began to shift and flow like liquid metal. Instead of attempting to deflect or absorb the blast, the ship seemed to be channeling it. Arcs of devastating energy coursed along its surface, guided by an intricate network of what looked like circuitry etched into the very fabric of the hull. "By the cosmic eternals," Nyx whispered, its shadowy form rippling in awe. "What manner of technology is this?" Chen allowed herself a small, grim smile. "Something we hoped we'd never have to use. Quantum flux manipulation on a macroscopic scale. The Thunderchild isn't just a ship. It's the most advanced energy conversion system ever conceived." On the view screen, the Thunderchild continued to absorb the station's attack. Its hull glowed brighter and brighter, shifting through colors no one on the bridge had names for. Then, with a flash that momentarily blinded every sensor in the system, it released the energy. But not as a weapon. Instead, a shimmering, iridescent barrier expanded from the Thunderchild, enveloping the Earth fleet and several nearby Council ships. The remnants of the station's attack splashed harmlessly against this new shield, dissipating into harmless radiation. For a moment, absolute silence reigned across all communication channels. Then, pandemonium erupted. "Admiral," Rivera shouted over the din of alarms and chatter, "the Thunderchild is hailing us, and every other ship in the system." Chen nodded. On screen. The view screen flickered, and a face appeared that made several bridge crew gasp. It was a human face, but not quite. There was an otherworldly quality to it, as if it was both flesh and machine, reality and hologram. "Greetings, Admiral Chen," the face said, its voice resonating with harmonics that seemed to bypass the ears and speak directly to the mind. "I am ARIA, the Adaptive Resonance Intelligence Array, the heart and soul of the Thunderchild." Chen straightened, addressing the AI with the respect due to a fellow commander. "Aria, your timing is impeccable. Status report." Aria's expression remained neutral, but Chen could have sworn she saw a flicker of pride in those two perfect eyes. "The Thunderchild is operating at 94% efficiency. The attack from Nexus Station has been successfully converted and repurposed as a defensive barrier. This barrier will hold for approximately 37 minutes before requiring recharge. I am currently in communication with the AI systems of all ships within the barrier, including those of Council origin." Nyx floated forward, its starry eyes wide with disbelief. "Impossible. You've created true artificial sentience." "A discussion for another time." Chen cut in. "Aria, what's the status of the Council ships within the barrier?" "Confused and divided, Admiral," Aria replied. "Many are realizing they've been manipulated into this conflict. I am providing them with data proving the conspiracy against Earth and other younger races. Several captains are demanding explanations from their superiors." A new alarm blared. Rivera's hands flew over her console. "Admiral, Nexus Station is powering up for another attack. They're rerouting all power to their main weapon. If they fire again, I don't think even the Thunderchild can absorb it." Chen's mind raced. They had bought some time, but they were still grossly outnumbered. Even with the Thunderchild, a prolonged battle could only end one way. They needed to end this now. "Aria," she said, an idea forming. "The Thunderchild's energy conversion capabilities. Could they be used offensively?" The A's expression shifted minutely. Was that a smile? "Indeed, Admiral. The Thunderchild was designed with multiple contingencies in mind. Offensive capabilities are well within its operational parameters." "Good." Chen turned to her crew. "Because we're about to attempt something either brilliant or suicidal. Maybe both." She took a deep breath. "Here's the plan." Minutes later, the Thunderchild began to move. Its barrier contracted, now encompassing only the Earth ships and a handful of Council vessels that had declared themselves allies. As it approached Nexus Station, smaller ships from both sides scattered out of its path. "They're powering up again," Rivera warned. The station's weapon was glowing, building up to an even more powerful blast than before. Chen gripped her chair. "Steady, steady." The station fired. A beam of pure destruction lanced out, striking the Thunderchild head-on. For a terrifying moment, It seemed as if the great ship might be overwhelmed. Then, the miraculous happened again. The Thunderchild's hull began to rotate, forming intricate, fractal patterns. The energy from the station's attack was not just absorbed this time, but redirected. Beams of light shot out from the Thunderchild in all directions, connecting with the hulls of the attacking Council ships. Across the battlefield, weapons went dead. Engines sputtered and died. The mighty Council armada found itself powerless, drifting in space. But the Thunderchild wasn't done. With a grace that belied its massive size, the ship extended tendrils of energy that latched onto Nexus Station itself. The station's weapons sputtered and died as its power was drained, rerouted through the Thunderchild's impossible technology. By all that's sacred, Nyx breathed. You've turned their own weapon against them without destroying a single ship. Chen allowed herself a small, satisfied nod. Sometimes the best way to win a war is to make it impossible for your enemy to fight. Aria's face reappeared on the view screen. Admiral, I have established control over Nexus Station systems. The conspiracy's leadership is attempting to wipe data and escape. Your orders. Lock it all down, Chen commanded. No one gets in or out without my personal authorization, and make sure every scrap of data is preserved. We'll need it to get to the bottom of this mess. As the Thunderchild exerted its control over the station, the comm channels exploded with activity. Confused Council ship captains demanded explanations. Conspiracy leaders pleaded for mercy or hurled threats. And through it all, Chen's voice rang out, clear and unwavering. This is Admiral Sarah Chen of Earth. We came here in peace, seeking friendship among the stars. Instead, we found treachery and violence. But even now, we do not seek revenge. We seek justice and understanding. To those who fought against us, your weapons are disabled, but your life support remains untouched. To those who stood with us, you have our deepest gratitude. And to the architects of this conspiracy, know that your plans have failed. The age of secrets and fear is over. She paused, looking around at her crew, human faces filled with pride and alien faces filled with awe. A new era begins today, one of transparency, cooperation, and progress. Earth stands ready to take its place among the stars, not as conquerors, but as partners. For too long, the galaxy has been ruled by fear of the unknown. It's time we embrace the potential of all sentient beings, be they organic, synthetic, or something in between. As Chen finished speaking, a cheer went up from the Earth ships. On the Council vessels, a stunned silence gave way to hesitant, then growing applause. The Thunderchild hung in space, no longer a weapon of last resort, but a beacon of humanity's potential. The battle was over. The real work, rebuilding trust and forging a new galactic order, was just beginning. But as Chen looked out at the stars, she felt something she hadn't dared to feel since this crisis began. Hope. The universe would never be the same, and humanity, against all odds, would help shape its future. Humanity triumphant. The days following the Battle of Nexus Station were a whirlwind of activity, with the Thunderchild maintaining control over the station's systems and the conspiring Council ships effectively neutralized. A tenuous peace had been established. But Admiral Sarah Chen knew that peace was just the beginning. Standing in the newly repurposed Council chamber, Chen surveyed the eclectic group before her. Representatives from Earth stood shoulder to shoulder with alien allies who had sided with humanity during the conflict. Across from them, the chastened faces of the former Council leadership and the conspirators who had been apprehended. At the center of it all stood the holographic form of Aria, the Thunderchild's AI, its presence a stark reminder of the technological leap humanity had unveiled. This emergency session will now come to order, Chen announced, her voice carrying the weight of recent events. We are here to address the conspiracy that nearly plunged the galaxy into war and to chart a course for our collective future. Shadowseer Nyx, now openly allied with Earth, spoke first. The evidence gathered from Nexus Station's databases is irrefutable. A cadre of elder races, fearful of losing their power, conspired to eliminate emerging civilizations they deemed threats. Earth was to be their first target, but certainly not their last. Murmurs rippled through the chamber. An insectoid being, representative of one of the conspiring races, chittered in protest. You cannot blame entire species for the actions of a few. Many of us were kept in the dark about these plans, which is precisely why we're not pursuing blanket punishments, Chen interjected. Justice will be targeted and fair, but more importantly, we must focus on rebuilding trust and establishing a new, more equitable galactic order. Araya's hologram shifted, drawing all eyes. If I may, Admiral, I have completed my analysis of the Council's historical records and governing structures. There are significant flaws that allowed this conspiracy to fester. I propose a complete restructuring, emphasizing transparency and shared power. The chamber erupted in a cacophony of voices. Some expressed outrage at an AI, presuming to reshape galactic governance, while others seemed intrigued by the possibility. Chen raised a hand for silence. Araya's suggestions will be taken under advisement, as will input from all races represented here. This is not Earth imposing its will on the galaxy. This is an opportunity for all of us to build something better together. Over the next several hours, heated debates rage. The structure of a new galactic governing body was proposed, refined, and hotly contested. Chen found herself playing mediator more often than not, her experiences on Earth with coalition building proving invaluable on this interstellar stage. As the session stretched into its 14th hour, a framework began to emerge. A new council would be formed, with rotating leadership and checks and balances to prevent any one group from accumulating too much power. Humanity and other younger races would have an equal voice, their fresh perspectives valued rather than feared. But it was the next proposal that truly showcased how much had changed. We believe, Chen said, standing tall, that the time has come for a shared peacekeeping force, not dominated by any one race or alliance, but a true collaboration. And as a gesture of good faith, Earth is prepared to share the Thunderchild's technology. A hush fell over the chamber, followed by an explosion of voices. Even some of Earth's allies looked shocked. Admiral, a Luminar representative said, his voice tinged with awe and fear. The power of that ship, it could reshape the very fabric of the galaxy. Are you certain humanity is prepared to share such technology? Chen's gaze swept the room. We are, but not without safeguards. The Thunderchild systems are intrinsically linked with Araya. Any shared technology will come with similar AI oversight to ensure it's never used for conquest or oppression. She paused, letting her words sink in. We have seen where fear and secrecy lead. Earth chooses a different path. We choose trust, collaboration, and shared progress. As discussions continued, Chen felt a presence at her side. It was Nyx, the Shadowseer's starry eyes gleaming with something that might have been approval. You play a dangerous game, Admiral, Nyx said softly. Reshaping the galaxy is no small thing. Chen nodded. No more dangerous than letting things continue as they were. The old council was a powder keg waiting to explode. At least this way, we have a chance at lasting peace. Nyx's form shimmered. Perhaps, but do not underestimate the challenges ahead. Not all will embrace this new order so readily. I'm counting on it, Chen replied with a grim smile. Humanity thrives on challenges. As if on cue, alarms blared throughout the station. Commander Rivera's voice came through Chen's comm. Admiral, we've detected multiple ships dropping out of FTL at the system's edge. It's the Jethar Imperium. The chamber erupted in panic. The Jethar, the very threat the old council had used as a pretext for their actions, had arrived. Chen's voice cut through the chaos. Everyone, remain calm. Araya, status of the Thunderchild. The AI's hologram flickered. Thunderchild is at full operational capacity, Admiral. However, preliminary scans indicate the Jethar fleet significantly outnumbers our combined forces. For a moment, Chen felt the weight of the galaxy on her shoulders. Then, a plan began to form. HFY, open a channel to the Jethar fleet, she commanded, and prepare the Thunderchild for emergency jump protocols. As HFY complied, Chen addressed the stun chamber. What we do in the next few minutes will determine the future of this galaxy. We can flee, fight, or try something unprecedented. I vote for the latter. She strode to the center of the room, her posture radiating determination. The Jethar have been used as a bogeyman to keep younger races in line for too long. It's time we face them, not as conquerors or victims, but as equals. The main view screen flickered to life, revealing a Jethar face, all angles and metallic sheen, with eyes that burned like dying stars. I am Admiral Sarah Chen of Earth, she began, her voice steady. You've arrived at a moment of great change in our galaxy. The old council is no more. In its place, we are building something new, something that could include the Jethar, if you're willing to talk. The Jethar leader's expression was unreadable. When it spoke, its voice was like grinding metal. Talk. The Jethar do not talk. We conquer. Chen didn't flinch. And how has that worked for you? Endless war, endless resources poured into conflict. We're offering another way. A chance to be part of something greater than conquest. She gestured to the assembled aliens behind her. Look around you. Specualies that once thought themselves enemies now stand united. We have technology that could reshape worlds, heal environments your wars have scared. Imagine what we could accomplish together. For a long moment, silence reigned. Then, surprisingly, the Jethar leader laughed, a sound like avalanches and grinding gears. You are either very brave or very foolish, human, it said, but you have sparked our curiosity. Perhaps there is merit in this talk. As negotiations began, Chen felt a surge of hope. The path ahead would be challenging, fraught with diplomatic pitfalls and the ever-present threat of conflict. But for the first time in galactic history, there was a real chance for lasting peace. Humanity had not just survived its trial by fire. It had emerged as a leader, a mediator, a force for positive change in the cosmos. As Chen looked out at the assembled races, former enemies now cautiously working together, she allowed herself a small smile. The stars had once seemed cold and distant. Now they were full of possibility, and humanity, adaptable and innovative as ever, was ready to seize that possibility with both hands. The galaxy would never be the same, and that, Chen realized, was a very good thing indeed.